Here's why you shouldn't twist people's nipples on the phone or try too hard to make a sale for someone who is kind of lukewarm on your program. You reap what you sow, and this happens very much with your sales process and your delivery. So usually if you have somebody who at the point of sale, you have to use a lot of pain-based marketing, or you have to really drag them over the line, that's not going to stop once they buy. They're going to become a nightmare client, and you're basically bringing those people into your program. And I know that when you're not making many sales and you feel like you need anyone that you can get, the temptation is like, oh, it's fine, just this person, and I'll, maybe they'll calm down. Like, yes, I know they're being a nightmare now, but once I have to coach them and I'm responsible for them, somehow they're going to be a lot less of a pain in the arse. Doesn't happen, unfortunately.
And it's really caused by, I think, the problem that pretty much every coach struggles with when they're starting out, which is lack of volume. So why do you have to force somebody over the line? You have to, because you need to make the sale. You have to do that because you've got no other inquiries coming in, or you've got no other opportunities to sell to, or you've got just a lack of things, right? A lack of leads, a lack of potential signups, a lack of clients in your program. And then maybe if you're having to sort of post all the time on social media to get those leads, to get those signups, that's probably diminishing pretty quickly. So you might have had some initial success with it, and then the number of leads from the same number of actions decreases. And so help it continue working, you kind of have to get more and more forceful with the marketing messages that you use. You have to get more and more forceful with the sales tactics that you use. And the result of that is you kind of sell to someone when they're in this heightened emotional state. You've brought up all this pain, you brought up all this excitement maybe of the result you're going to help them get. They wake up the next morning, they're like, oh, I shouldn't have done that. I could have just worked with a personal trainer in the gym. And they ask for their money back. And so if you have to do this, it's firstly, you're kind of creating problems for yourself in the future, but also it's actually a symptom of something else. And the only way to fix it is to get more volume through the front end of your business.
For sure. Because the less willing someone is to buy something from you, the less willing they will be to engage with the program. And so you end up producing worse results for that person anyway. Now, there are some reasons why a lot of business mentors teach this kind of pain-based marketing and very aggressive sales tactics. And it's usually because either they are psychopaths, and so they don't see the ethical problem with doing this, or it's because the price is too high. And so as a result, it's a poor fit, or they have to kind of wedge in some of these numbers to work. And one way to bridge that gap is by being emotionally manipulative. And it's good for their testimonials, but it produces problems down the line for the coach that has to actually then deliver to that person. So the final reason for that is that it's a poor fit. It's maybe the niching isn't quite right, or maybe the offer isn't really suited to the person who you're selling to, but you've just got to kind of brute force it. And again, it causes those same problems.
No matter how good your marketing is, if your price for your service is 2 to 3 to 10 times the market average for that service, you're probably going to have to sell in a very emotional, pain-driven way, because it's not somebody doesn't buy something that is 10 times the average price for something because it's a logical decision. They do it because it's an emotional decision. So either that is because you're making promises that you can't necessarily keep up, or you are digging into pain and making them really feel like if they don't pay for this thing with you, then they'll never get the outcome, or they'll always be in this pain. People don't make logical decisions to part with money that they don't need to. And so because of that, you have to use these kinds of, I'm going to say, manipulative strategies, like the sort of the NLP, the way things are scripted, making someone make a decision on the phone, all these sorts of things really are there because the price is too high. And why is the price too high? Well, how do you grow a business if there aren't that many inquiries and you aren't making that many sales? You have to charge as much as you possibly can. And so again, it comes back to this lack of volume thing, right? If you had inquiries every day and you're trying to grow your business, you wouldn't arrive at the solution of like, well, I'm going to charge everybody as much as I possibly can and force them over the line. You'd think, well, why don't I charge an amount of money that people are okay with and want to keep paying long term? And I'll just keep people coming through the front end and I'll keep growing my client numbers on the back end. So these things are often a symptom of each other. And the manipulative tactics create so much of a problem for the people that you end up working with.
So Johnny, how do I get more volume into my business and not have to rely on all these underhand, black hat, fly-by-night tomfoolery tactics?
Fly by night. 4 things. You firstly need a message that stands out. And by that, I just mean if you're marketing to a specific person that makes them stop scrolling, makes them click, then your message stands out. You then need something that is selling your service. So a system that sells your service to a specific person in a specific way using a specific mechanism or method. And you need a product that can handle 30, 50, 100, 200 people off the back of it. All of those things in combination allow you to use advertising. And if you can use advertising, you don't really need to work immediately. As soon as you turn an ad on, you will not have a lack of leads. You will not have a lack of interest and demand. The problem that people have, and they'll come to us and say, oh, I've run ads and it didn't work. What they mean is that they didn't have the infrastructure to handle the clicks from the ads to allow them to work. So you can run ads that are too broad. You can run ad creative that isn't going to generate interest or generate clicks. You can get clicks from the right people at the right time and then send them to something that isn't going to work anyway. And all these funnels that mentors teach, like DMing people, engaging with everyone who comments on your posts, it's very, very hard to scale that process with advertising. Extremely difficult. And even if you could, you would get a ton of like junk conversations and you'd have to hire VAs and all these sorts of things. So if you have a system and product and a message that can be used with advertising, you can then just say to Instagram, hey, find me just these people. So people who are this age, who live in this part of the world, who work in this industry, who've just recently bought something on the internet, who have these interests as well, who are in the top 10% of income in that country, just show this message to just those people. And thousands of them will see it per day. And suddenly you haven't got a lack problem anymore. You haven't got a shortage, and you can just scale the advertising as it starts to work.
I've just really conveniently remembered that you've got a full guide on how to put all of that into practice, and it's all step by step, and I think it's free as well, isn't it? So,
yeah.
And it's in the link in the description.
Weirdly,
So
yeah, like I'd totally forgotten, but yeah, it is.
So have a listen to that. If this sounds like something you're interested in, we will speak to you soon.
Okay, bye then.